Vacation Ontario.
Oh, that's different. We're talking about
The FFCRA?
Yeah. Was that the one you had issues with?
No, it's the
I
other
think they
one.
got confused. Right. Thank
The
you. I think.
FFCRA one is probably.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. I think he got confused. It was the vacation.
It's the vacation.
Yeah, because people are having questions about that. They were trying to explain it to them. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, because someone asked me to explain this, and I tried, but that's why I told Mr. Wong this morning. So I think Bala got confused. He thought you were talking about the FFR. Yeah, okay, good. Oh, yeah, that is confusing. Yeah, thank you. I told Mr. Wong that too, and that's what I don't think he understood when he said it.
Well, it's hard to understand. Let him know that I'm now on vacation.
Yeah, I will, because he was confused too. I will. I'm going to tell. Yeah, I definitely. Because we discussed it and we were like, and he said, well, hopefully they'll have a presentation which will clarify it. But, oh, good. I'll definitely let him know that we're on the same page with that.
You should see my email sent like.
Yeah, I have it. All set. Yeah, thank you. Like your sweater. But that's
Thank you. Christmas time.
I'll be better for more person.
When I went down my first college, only 2 days will be taken this class. Only 2 days.
I want to interview Mark.
The last two. Those were, you practiced the spell. You didn't show back.
Yes, please. Thank you. I want to.
And then, 4 days later,
She'd be like, what am I getting myself into? Like, he's gonna change. I'll wait till it comes up.
Santa Claus.
This always happens at the end of the year. Yeah, they get. Is Mark all set? No, yeah, that makes sense. So you know when it's gonna be? Because that's what we're talking about, text message. You want to do the group text.
You talking about Kelly Wilson?
Okay, good. Okay, good. And so what she said?
Theo.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. You appreciate it.
That was a good thing you watched this video.
Yeah, cool.
Did you show your chair?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dustin Hillis, Chair of the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee, and I'll call this meeting to order. I've been joined by my colleagues to my left, Councilmember Norwood, followed by Councilmember Boone and Councilmember Waits, and we do constitute a quorum. I will make a motion to adopt the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
48, 0 nays. The agenda is adopted. I'll now make a motion to approve the minutes of the prior meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
48, 0 nays. The minutes are approved. Now moving on to our public comment. First, we have Henri Jordan.
Giving out to the Spirit of God, everyone that's here. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. Romans 1st chapter 18th verse. They received the truth concerning the wrath of God, but hindered it and prevented it from completing its work. Jesus against James Griff, unrighteousness is to fight to cover his righteousness, Christ's righteousness in me, to be made known. Thou hast also committed fornication with the Egyptians, thy neighbors, greater flesh, and has increased thy whoredoms, provoked me to anger. Ezekiel 16, chapter 26, verse. So wicked had the Israelites become that God gave them over to their own evil practices, in the hope that a sense of horror at their own deeds would shock them into repentance. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. St. John 3rd chapter 18 verse. This verse answers the question, why do people go to hell? It is because they do not believe in Jesus. And all the trees of the field shall know that I, the Lord, have brought down the high tree, have exalted the low tree, and have dried up the green tree, and have made the dry tree to flourish. I, the Lord, have spoken and have done it. Ezekiel 17, chapter 24, verse. Yet will he take a branch, one of the Davidic line, and plant it upon a high mountain, reestablish the kingdom to Israel. It is more powerful to ask for obedience to God than to man. James Griffith is still coming on my roof, trying to make me his wife, and the policeman, when I call him out, he go, "May, like, I got an issue." But when I try to move out this house, I heard that he gonna try to make me come back there, saying we got a relationship that we don't have. He didn't want to pay God's price to be a Christ-like husband. So God said I can't have anything to do with him because he don't believe in the word of Christ like I do. And the word of Christ created the money, not me. I chose to obey Christ, to seek to please him, to be submitted to Christ in order for him to use me, because it's a holy calling, and I must seek to be holy. Your call is for justice, and you should seek justice. Thank you.
Greg Pridgeon.
That's right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee. My name is Greg Pridgeon. I'm here today to speak briefly on two pieces of legislation before you. First is ordinance for second reading, number 23-0-1605. That is for 536 Decatur Street. We've had a chance to meet with Councilmember Faroki, and we've had a conversation with members of the Old Fourth Ward Neighbors Association. We are going to sit with them in the next few days and go through a few items that may be of concern to them. I think there was just a miscommunication between us. We've apologized for that, and we're working with them. So I spoke to Tom Boyle, I think, today, and he is trying to set up a meeting for us to sit down and talk with them. They're very supportive of the owners for what they have now, and we think that before it's all done, we'll find a common ground. The second one, so we're asking that that continue to be held. We're not asking for any action on that today. The second one is on page 11. This is 23-0-1168. This is for a specialty food shop at 1370 North Highland Avenue. We've had a long and wonderful time frame on this project, and we're finally at a point where the Morningside Lennox Park Neighborhood Association voted unanimously to support this, and NPUF voted almost unanimously. I think they had one dissenting vote. There was one issue that was of concern to them, and that is in the body of the paper. It mentioned that distilled spirits would be allowed. That is not what the owner, Morningside Lennox, or any of us had agreed to. I think it was maybe just an oversight because the ordinance caption does not mention anything about spirits. It talks about beer and wine, and that is acceptable to both the Morningside Lennox Park Group and NPUF. So we will ask that you accept an amendment that is proposed, and I think your staff has that, to remove the word distilled from the ordained clause. Councilmember Juan and I have talked, and Councilmember Westmoreland and they are supportive, as I understand it, to move the paper forward. So we would respectfully request that you move this paper forward today with a positive vote. Thank you.
Ken Roebling.
Good afternoon, council members. I have not much to say. I want to report there's good news. They're working on Fire Station 22. After $41 million and 13 years, they're actually working on it. So that's good news. A year ago, I suggested you sell the jail to the county and solve their problem of overcrowded jails and solve your problem of having an underused jail. But I've seen on the TV that they have decided not to accept your offer if you even made it. And they want to spend $1.5 billion on a new jail. If it's anything like Fire Station 22, it may not get built this century, and it may cost a lot more than $1.5 billion. It's just something I thought I'd bring up. Thank you.
Linda Adams.
Excuse me. Good evening. Linda Adams, Vine City resident for over 20 plus years. I'm here today to talk about the illegal parking that's gone on in Vine City. I'm sure a lot of you all are very much aware of the parking during the events. Now it has gotten to the point that I myself has been threatened by some illegal person parking cars, threatening to kill myself and my dog. We got 3 senior citizens that walk our dog every morning. This guy has stalked me. I have filed a case against him. I have not heard back from the investigator yet. But I live in a senior facility of 105 seniors. And right around my block, that's all we see on the vacant lots are parked cars during the event. Now, to my understanding, there's a city ordinance that you're not allowed to park on grass. It's only 2 facilities in Vine City that has a permit to park, and that's the Higher Ground Church and the Old Methuen School. But every time it's an event, I am surrounded, me and my residents are surrounded by cars all on grass, illegally parked on the streets. We finally got signs back to say no parking on the street. And I will give thanks to Zone 1. They have addressed the majority of the cars that's parked illegally, mainly on Magnolia Street. But my concern today is I'm being threatened. It's frustrating to come out of my building and see a parking lot of cars where they're attending the events at the Dome. But to be threatened because I speak up for my neighborhood is unacceptable to me. So I'm hoping that this committee, public safety, because I'm still trying to understand the mission of the public safety for the city, how are you there to protect me and the rest of our seniors? We should not be tolerated, be harassed, or be bothered with all of this illegal parking. So that's one of my comments I have today. Thank you.
Dewan Robinson.
Good afternoon. Hope everyone had a happy holiday and a blessed weekend. You know what I'm saying? My love to you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Glad that you're here. You know what I'm saying? I wonder, you know what I'm saying? We would have understood if you wouldn't, but you know what I'm saying? It's in my heart to you. The family of Deacon Holloman came down here and spoke about a month ago. I'm not sure if you guys had an opportunity to watch the video. Ms. Norwood, Mr. Hillis, Ms. Boone, Ms. Waits. There's a tow truck driver from S&W that the city of Atlanta gives a contract to, $1 million contract. This tow truck driver put his knee, he assisted the officer who was fired from APD, right? This tow truck driver from S&W, Ms. Norwood, he assisted and put his knee on Deacon Holloman's neck, which contributed to the death of Deacon Holloman. So I'm asking you guys here today to suspend that contract, Ms. Boone, from S&W Towing, because that man, that tow truck driver, assistant, you can hear him in the video. Oh man, I ain't done that in 7 years. That felt good. We cannot allow the city of Atlanta to be given a tow truck driver, a towing company of S&W, millions of dollars to tow cars and not hold them accountable. We cannot allow that. Mr. Amos, what I just said is, I don't want you to have to look at it later. The video footage were released of Deacon Holloman. And in that footage, you can see the tow truck driver from S&W put his knee for like 40-some seconds on Deacon Holloman's neck and help assist to kill Deacon Holloman. We are asking that you guys remove S&W from towing from the city of Atlanta. It's a bad look on our city to have this company have a multi-million-dollar contract and one of their drivers help assist to kill the old African-American man who was also a deacon and a pillar in this community. Last thing I want to speak about is, I was over at East Point Park and Rec, Mr. Lewis, not too far from you at Jefferson Recreation, and they had an academic bowl, not too far from you also, Ms. Waits. And when I tell you, this is the only gym that they have in East Point, Ms. Boone. When I tell you they doing more work over there than we doing in any of the gym in the city of Atlanta, more programs, more work, less budget, and they are killing it. There's no way that the city of Atlanta have all these recreation gyms and the money that we have and the staff we have and the resources that we cannot compete with one small gym in East Point who are smoking us when it comes to the sports program and the academia. They are smoking us. I'm talking about it's like Harvard and the elementary school level, how bad they are beating us in these areas. And we just got to do better in the city of Atlanta. Thank you.
All right, that concludes our public comment for today. During public comment, we've been joined by Councilmember Lewis as well as Councilmember and our Vice Chair Amos. Before we get into presentations, we do have one communication, which is an appointment, and that person is here. So we're going to take item number 2, 23C 5122. Ms. Linda.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's a communication from Ann Phillips, President of the Atlanta Planning and Advisory Board, submitting the appointment of Dr. Conchita Floyd to serve on the Atlanta Citizen Review Board in the Neighborhood Planning NPU Group, M through R. This appointment is for a term of 3 years.
Thank you, Dr. Floyd. If you will come up to the microphone, tell us a little bit about yourself, your willingness to serve, and a birdie told me it was your birthday today, so happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and the board. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to stand before you today. Just to give you a little background of myself, I am Dr. Conchita Floyd. I am a retired public health advisor. I served in several emergency capacities such as the flu pandemic, the Hurricane Katrina, and the Ebola outbreak. I'm also an Air Force veteran. I've served in the Kosovo, Enduring, and Iraqi Operation Freedom for our country. I have a bachelor's in sociology, a master's in adult education, and a doctorate in education which specializes in instructional leadership. I've served on various boards with Fulton County, currently serving with the Fulton County Community Coalition board member, where we focus more on advancing health literacy to enhance equitable community responses. I serve actively with the NPU, which is NPUP, in my community. I've also served as the board chair with Quest Community Development Organization as the board, which their mission was to focus on developing affordable and supportive housing for formerly homeless and extremely low income residents. And when I lived in the Gwinnett County residents, I served on the Gwinnett County Human Relationship Commission Board and served as the chair in that capacity as well. Also served as the grand jury foreman for 6 months while also living in Gwinnett County. My desire to serve on the Atlanta Citizen Review Board is I firmly believe in serving my community, trying to improve, but also being very fair and equitable in the community as well. I serve and believe in serving with passion and very serious about what I do. I'm very serious about this position and role. And I stand here today desiring the opportunity to serve on the Atlanta Citizen Review Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Floyd, for your service in public health and many other places. Colleagues, any questions or comments for Dr. Floyd? All right, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Boone. Councilmember Waits, did you have a question or comment? No. Okay, thank you. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote's closed.
6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Dr. Floyd, this will move on to the Committee on Council next week, and then to the full council after that, but you will not need to reappear. Our municipal clerk will be in touch with you regarding, after that process is successful, regarding your oath and any other items I need to follow up with you on. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, now back to our presentations. First up, we have the Office of the Public Defender's quarterly update. Mr. Kenneth Days, welcome.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Ken Days. I am the Director and Chief Public Defender for the Office of the Public Defender. Appreciate the opportunity today to come and talk a little bit about what we have done and what we intend to do going forward. Want to first say thank you to our staff for hosting our 4th annual Thanksgiving holiday celebration 3 weeks ago now, in partnership with Atlanta Downtown Improvement District, or ADID, Hope Through Soap, and Georgia State University. Again, our annual block party, primarily for those experiencing homelessness. We were able to provide a number of hot meals, had barbers on site. We handed out a ton of winter supplies and provided some direct connection with medical resources, mental health resources, some employment resources, and some housing providers. So again, we don't have the pictures for you today, but I did want to mention that that has been a big highlight for us every year, and we were proud to do it again this year. Today, I want to talk about a new initiative that our office is undertaking that we believe will be very impactful for the city, our partner agencies, as well as the judicial agency stakeholders, and how we can better allocate our department resources for a more effective and efficient use of the services that we provide. As you may well know, we are a client-centered holistic defense practice, which effectively means that what we do is, in addition to the legal case, we also make certain that we're providing any ancillary needs that may bring a person in contact with the justice system. So what we've, to that end, decided to do is work on a better strategy for collecting data. Our current case management system was procured through grant funding that was generously provided by the MacArthur Foundation some years ago. However, that case management system, the performance is quite limited. We've recognized our need to improve our data quality, and we are uniquely positioned, I think, because of the trust that we provide to clients and that we have that trust. I think we're uniquely positioned to procure some metrics that would not be otherwise procured from some other agencies, and that we can be more impactful once we've procured that data. So for instance, rather than just identifying, say, number of arrests that a particular person may have had, we can pretty much in real time show the arrest in a specific, say, council district, or the type of arrest, or whether or not this particular defendant also has other medical needs that we have previously identified, or if they've had housing needs that we've previously identified, or treatment or employment and some of these other typical barriers to service. So we want to reduce that and be more intentional in where we make a referral, and also look at what our success or failure has been in past referrals. Right now, we are highly sought after around the nation because we are a sole misdemeanor practice. And that presents a lot of opportunities for us in that we are able to pretty much be on the front line solely to a lot of the causes that may bring a person into contact in the criminal legal system, like employment or mental health. And so we believe that our data capacity should also match that level of service provision, so that when we're advising other agencies on what best practices are, that we have a data support system that matches the other work that we're doing. Of course, the Municipal Court of Atlanta is one of the largest by volume courthouses in the Southeast, and again, that gives us an advantage from a client standpoint. So what have we done so far? Step one, we recognize, is to build a data team. Right now, we do community outreach and community support exceptionally well. Our social workers and client advocates and investigators do a phenomenal job every day. Our attorney training and our defense implementation is top-notch. Both of those services are very resource intensive, but it's very difficult for us on a daily basis to quantify or qualify the work that we do. We've begun the hiring process for dedicated staff and for data management and analysis. 2 months ago, we hired a data scientist who right now is assessing our current challenges and identifying some of the strategies that we can use to improve our current system. We anticipate hiring some support staff around her, and further hiring will be based on the analysis that she provides us. Right now, of course, our entire department's data collection and management process is under review. We're meeting with each of our staff members to sort out what we are collecting and what we're not collecting, and how easily it is for us to use the data that we do have sometime in the future. So we've already recognized some gaps and some opportunities for improvement that are not currently addressed by our current system. So we anticipate by third quarter of this fiscal year, being January through March, that we'll be able to continue collaborating with the city's AIM department to redesign our database and for some of the better metrics that I described before, such as services in a particular council district and at what cost, and whether or not we're being effective or ineffective with the service provision. By fourth quarter, we anticipate that we'll begin work directly with our appellate team and our attorney teams so that we can figure out what our optimal resource allocations are based on a particular courtroom or a case type or under a particular or specific city ordinance. We anticipate that we should be fully operational by this time next year, if not sooner. What this new implementation will do for us, it will allow for much better communication with our staff. It will allow for much better communication with our community partners, and increased communication and better communication with our third-party service providers, and of course with other city agencies as well. But most importantly, I think from our personal standpoint that we've identified is creating these dashboards will allow us to better articulate our department's financial needs. We typically, and I know you guys have heard me almost ad nauseum talk anecdotally about what our departmental needs are, but we usually have very little empirical evidence that we can provide to you. And we hope that over the course of these next 12 months that we'll be able to articulate that so that you can actually see in real data where we're being most effective and or ineffective, and how we can best utilize the resources that we currently have and what our future needs may be. And so with that, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them as best I can.
Thank you, Mr. Days. Any questions, colleagues, or comments for Mr. Days? Councilmember Amos? Anyone else has any questions or comments, please indicate with your speaker button.
Yes, sir. Director Days, first and foremost, thank you. You alluded to it at the very beginning. Your office do a lot for the citizens of the city of Atlanta, and you don't talk about it, your team don't talk about it, but you know, for all of the grass you have cut, the shrubbery you have removed from, and a lot of it, you have been out there with your team. I know our senior citizens really appreciate you, so thank you. I was just thinking, I was at an event at the Atlanta University Center, in which, led by a team from Clark Atlanta, they just received a huge grant from MasterCard to build out their data science department. I don't know if there's a connection that could be made there to help you build out your team, or to use the AUC to make sure the data you're collecting is culturally competent. But maybe there's a connection there to help all the citizens of Atlanta and some new graduates from the AUC. So,
Well, I appreciate that suggestion. We'll certainly look forward to that.
Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Bond, who we have also been joined by.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Day, for your presentation. I'd just like to ask, what is, if you can give us an update on the eviction assistance that your office provides?
Right now, we're currently, more or less, I think we're operating somewhat in an informal stance because of our positioning. I think what we have been doing has been very effective, and that is, as we receive referrals from either council staff and or clients that have an eviction need, what we're doing is just we've dedicated some personnel in our staff that have some historical background and expertise in that area to those cases. So as those calls come in, we're dedicating those staff members to try to address those issues, to get them either appropriately referred, or if there are sort of guidance that we can directly provide, we do so, and it's been remarkably successful. What we would like to see is an ability to sort of grow that out internally more, but of course that we may be able to recognize what our needs are better, with the data we're now collecting, so that we can make a determination of how many of those cases or those calls that we're getting on a weekly basis, and what kind of service that we can be providing outside of the referrals that we're doing now. So it's ongoing practice, but I would hope to be able to expand what we're doing in the near future.
Well, that sounds good. So do you feel that the requests that are coming in are increasing, or is that's the case?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, month over month, we get more phone calls. And it may be just, a nature of just where our citizens are right now, but also just recognizing that, this is and also sort of an expertise that we can provide in addition to the other things that we do, sort of community-based.
All right, well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you all's work in that area.
Thank you.
I withdraw, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Days? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we will have the Department of Corrections quarterly update. It's my understanding that Interim Chief Dancy is out, so we have Deputy Chief Quiller giving the presentation. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, Chairman Hellis and the members of Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee. My name is Deputy Chief Timothy Quiller, Administrative Service Division Commander, and I'm here today to present the Public Safety FY24 first quarter report on behalf of Chief Elder Dancy. But first, I would like to introduce some members of Chief Dancy's team that I have with me here today to help out and answer any questions that you may have. Director Williams, Administrative Service Division. I have Major Wiggins, who's the Major of Administrative Service Division. Captain Tanique Sanders, she is the Chief of Staff for Chief Dancy. Also, I have Major Wiggins. She is the Detention Facilities Commander. The Department of Corrections vision statement, the City of Atlanta's Department of Corrections vision statement is to protect the public while striving for excellence through exemplary customer service and promoting community involvement. The mission statement, the City of Atlanta Department of Corrections mission is to provide a safe and secure correctional environment, enhance public safety through partnership with the community and law enforcement. One of the first things I want to talk about is our attrition and employment for July through September 2023. If you look at the slides here, you'll see that our personnel status for July of 2023 was 107 sworn, 52 civilians, and then we had in August 109 sworn and 53 civilians. And in September of this year, we had a total of 108 sworn and 54 civilians. As of October, we've had a total of 105 sworn and 55 civilians employed with the Department of Corrections. Onboarding attrition, you'll see that during that period, we had a total of 7 correctional officers that were employed with the Department of Corrections and 8 civilians. However, through attrition, we lost 4 correctional officers and 3 civilians during that time. When you look at some of the categories that we lost these officers, you'll see that we lost them through either resignations, pensions, or dismissals, or even transfers to other departments within the City of Atlanta. We had an opportunity to look at our vacancy report, and we're showing that right now we have a total of 50 sworn positions that are open and 15 civilians. One of the things that we did see during this period prior to was that we were losing individuals that had been on our department for 1 or 2 years. They were mainly recruits in a recruit status going through training. And the reason why we lost those individuals was due to the fact that they were transferring to other agencies for higher pay. That was the basic thing, just higher pay. That's why they were losing. That's why we were losing them. Recruitment events. One of the things that we're going to do this year, and we're going to increase the number of recruitment events we have. We're committed to doing at least 12 a year. That's just 12 that we want to put on, but we're also going to make sure that we get out there and if we find out there's a recruiting event at a different location, we're going to go to that location because we want to put it out there that we are hiring at the Department of Corrections. So you'll see that for this quarter we actually had a total of 3, but the 3 I want to talk about are the Goodwill Decatur Career Centers. We went out there to see if we could find some good candidates to come and be employed with the Department of Corrections, as well as Fall 2023 Emory School of Nursing Career Expo. The reason why we went to that one because we do have a health staff. We do have LPNs, and we are currently looking for LPNs to be employed in our medical unit. Some of the strategies that we will be employing during this time or in the near future, we're going to make sure we attend these hiring events and be very, very adamant about attending these hiring events, making sure that we're putting out our information to these individuals via social media, advertisements, and we definitely want to focus on our college campuses and military. Just a couple of weeks ago, in partnership with Commissioner Smith and the Department of Human Resources, we did put on a job fair at the Department of Public Safety headquarters. It was a good event. We had talent acquisition as well as Rodney Evans and his team to attend that event. One of the things that we saw was that by putting on this event, we were able to bring in a number of people. We had about 100 people that signed up for the event, and then 60 participated. This was your correctional officers, medical staff, and then your civilian components, people that we want to employ in our public transaction office, as well as our food service. So it was a great event. I really want to thank Commissioner Smith's team for coming out and putting this on for us. And we look forward to doing more of those events throughout the year. Next slide. Training and career development. As many of you are aware, at this time we have Fulton County Sheriff's Office that are housing detainees within our facility. So we knew that we were going to have to put in training in conjunction with their office to make sure that we had communication, make sure that we were training on certain scenarios. So the first training that we had that was put on the Atlanta Police Department, I want to thank them for the support. It was a very good training, is that we put on an active shooter and assault training. I just want to express this to you. At no time is anybody exempt from an active shooter. We all know if you look around the country, you've seen the trend. We just want to make sure we were prepared, and we want to make sure that Department of Corrections as well as Fulton County Sheriff's Office know how to react to it. So one thing we did, we made sure we trained our officers and we prepare them to respond to these type of events. The second training we put on was a Fulton County Emergency Procedures training. And what that is, it's just if we have a fire, if we have a natural disaster, that we will be able to respond. And if we have to move inmates to a different location, we'll be in communication with Fulton County to make sure that the plan goes through. The next training we did was the direct supervision. Now, the American Corrections Association mandates that we utilize the philosophy of direct supervision. It's just basically our pods are open bays. Just make sure that the individual that the correction officer who's working inside that pod is in direct supervision with those detainees. So we started doing this training. We had, I believe right now we had about 3 classes, and we'll continue to do those trainings throughout the year. As they add staff to bring over more detainees, we'll make sure that we have those classes and make sure that everybody's trained up. We attended the Public Safety and Leadership Summit, APD Command Staff Training. This is what for the executive training. I want to thank Chief Shearbaum and his team for putting on this great training for us. Georgia Peace Officer and Standard Training. This is just your mandated training that the correctional officers have to go through on a yearly basis. And then we implemented a sergeant's and promotional exam process. So we're hoping by the end of this year, we'll have some brand new sergeants supervising individuals of the Department of Corrections. Virtual court statistics. For the month of July 2023, we had a total of 55. We had 468 in August, and in September we had a total of 559 with a total of 1,482. Next slide. ACDC, the statistics, total bookings and average daily populations. Total bookings are just what it is. It's just basically individuals who are brought through the doors of Department of Corrections and enter into our jail management system. Total bookings for the first quarter of FY24, July we had a total of 1,110, August 1,201, and then in September we had 1,099. Our average daily populations. For July we had a total of 62, August 55, and for September we had a total of 56. And if you look at to your left, you'll see our average daily populations for FY22, 23, and 24. And you see there is an upward trend, but that upward trend is due to after COVID. Next slide. And these are just some of the top 15 charges that individuals were brought in to the Department of Corrections that were arrested by AP or any other municipality. You'll see that the first 5 charges, you have driving without suspended or revoked license, DUI, alcohol. You also have 60 days to change license, no tag, and then the speeding, was another charge that was in the top 5 of the number of charges that were that involved individuals being arrested. Jail population and analysis. This is July through September. We are at this point in our first year of a 4-year agreement with Fulton County Sheriff's Office. And the agreement is to house up to 700 Fulton County DAs in our facility. Some of the requirements for Department of Corrections is that we provide the housing space, general maintenance and housing supplies, cleaning chemicals, utilities, areas where they can prep their food, as well as washing machines. As far as the Sheriff's Department, Fulton County Sheriff's Office, their responsibility is the security of the detainees in the pods, as well as the transportation to and from the facilities. Medical and mental health, food service and programs. As of September 29th, the count was 409 detainees that are inside the Department of Corrections facility. You have 239 females and 170 males within the pods. As of today's date, you have a total of 407 detainees within the Department of Corrections. ACDC and Fulton County total bookings. For the month of July, for your total bookings for Department of Corrections, you have 823. Fulton County, 129. August, 875, and 227 for the month of August. And in September, you have 841 and 153 for Fulton County. Going to your demographics. This is by gender, race, age, and average length of stay that an individual was detained within the Department of Corrections. For your gender, ACDC has a total of 1,882 males, 657 females. Fulton County SO had 130 males and 379 females. Race breakdown. ACDC, black, 2,147, whites, 379, and others 12. For Fulton County, there was 415 blacks, 93 whites, and 1 other. Average age, Department of Corrections, the average age was 33 years. For Fulton County Sheriff's Office, it was 35. Excuse me. The average length of stays, these are the number of days on average a person was detained, and the Department of Corrections was 2.5 days. And for Fulton County Sheriff's Office, the number of days were 43. Department of Correction partnerships. One thing I want to say about this is they are essential to the day-to-day operations of the Department of Corrections, dealing with our missions and goals. And I just want to say to everybody in this room that without the partnerships, we would not be able to get our job done. So again, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank all the council members. I want to thank the mayor's office, all the cabinet members as well, because like I said, in order for us to be successful, we need the support of our team. And so I want to thank you again for that. Some of the partnerships that we are currently involved in is the Emory Mental Health and Fellows Program. And this is where they provide mental health screenings for detainees on Tuesdays and Thursdays. As of this date, we have a total of 111 detainees that were seen during the first quarter. And this is also a partnership with Grady Hospital Psychiatric Department. Viral Solutions, they provide COVID-19 vaccinations and screenings once a week in our facility. The inmate work detail, this is with the Georgia Department of Corrections, Clayton County, and the Atlanta Transitional Center. Fulton County Sheriff's Office, And then we continue our partnerships with Atlanta Police Department and AFRD. One of them is Operation Heatwave. And then anytime that we're called to provide resources for any demonstration, any public cleanup, or if they need support, we're able to provide transportation, we're able to provide manpower, and also we're able to provide space if necessary. The next topic I want to talk about is our strategic initiatives. If you go back to the previous slide, you'll see that the Pay Online e-bonding initiative, and what this is just an online bonding process. The kickoff was June the 8th, and it's where a detainee, a family member, or a loved one can utilize a major credit card or debit card to process electronic payments of bonds, fees, and surcharges. They use all major credit cards and, as I said, debit cards. And we have the ability, the ability of this technology is that a person now doesn't have to call their loved one and say, bring down to the Department of Corrections jail money or a check to get them out. Now what they can do is just go online. It's an online tool. They can go online, they can take their credit card, and they can post those fees or those bonds. In the near future, what will occur is that if a person comes through, if they're being processed in intake, and they have a bond, a set bond, then what they can do, if they have a credit card or a debit card, they can go ahead and use our processing tool, and they can go ahead and pay their own fees and bonds. So I think it's a great tool, and what we are doing now is promoting it. We're promoting it on our social media sites, as well as the city's webpage. And then when you come inside of our building, we have some placards that we're going to install in our main entrance as well as the intake area. So far to date, we've had a total of 150 transactions processed, and funds received are about $382,000 for year to date. Some more strategic initiatives that we are partaking in are security upgrades for the front lobby and replacing our body, and then we want to install X-ray scanners. And these X-ray scanners will be X-ray scanners that will be able to detect chemical agents as well as weapons, and we're going to place one inside of our mail processing center and another one down inside of our loading dock, because we have a lot of packages that come through. We're in our third phase of both the CCTV and the cameras. We're replacing all our analog and outdated cameras at this time. And also we're going to increase our storage capacity from 30 to 60 days of recording. One of the things that we really want to do in the near future is go ahead and make sure we're able to distribute body-worn cameras out to all our officers, just to record incidents between correction officers, detainees, public, and to aid in investigations. We're still involved in the ACDC Youth Development and Community Program in partnership with APD, APS, AFRD, and it's just to basically go out to the schools and talk about crime prevention and conflict resolution. We're still participating in the warming centers, additional job fairs, and then we want to expand our Viper team. Right now, after COVID, it was kind of depleted, but now we want to make sure we bring it back online. And this is our special response team to react to any critical incidents that happen within the Department of Corrections. So we want to make sure that we bring our team back online. We want to increase the number of people that we have in our Viper team, as well as provide training and equipment to those individuals. Excuse me. Right now, we're working on our additional parking. We were at the Forsyth Street lot at one time, but now we moved over to the lot that we utilized years ago. That's at Memorial and Pryor. And we just going to do some security enhancements. We're going to raise the fence. We're going to install a new gate, as well as install cameras and increase the lighting out there. And then Grady Memorial contract. What we want to do, there's been some issues with the Grady Memorial space, dealing with personnel. So one of the things that we want to do, and one of the things we are doing, is that the Department of Procurement and Finance, we're moving forward to engaging in a contract with 3 vendors. So we can have those vendors who will have officers that are post-certified or correctional officers that are certified to fill the gaps within the Grady space. So hopefully we can move on that very shortly. Next line. Just a couple of projects that have been in the works for a few years. The first one is we completed our roofing project where in fact we were having issues over the years where it would rain and then water would run inside of the jail. So what we did, we went ahead and contracted and we had Dean to head this project and we completed that project this year. We were able to install a new roof and now the leaks have stopped. However, we do see that we've had some issues with the caulking in the seams. If you look up on the, you probably can't see them, but there's some seams between the concrete panels, and in those seams are caulking. So we're going to have to remove that caulking and replace it with weather stripping. So that's in progress right now, and we'll get that done within the near future. So you have your pressure washing going on. The building is really stained, so we wanted to pressure wash, get all that cleaned out. Then we went in and we started the waterproofing, and then the next thing you'll see, we have some areas that are painted red. We just want to repaint those because the paint is chipping and on those individual panels. The diversion project. This is a project that involves City of Atlanta Police Department, Fulton County, Grady Memorial Hospital, Bloomberg Consulting, and PAD. There was a groundbreaking on the 31st where the mayor came out with his team to take a look at the project. And shortly after that, on May 15th, they started the demolition. The company came in and they started demolishing the auditoriums where we had the auditorium mat, break room, showers, as well as some more lockers in the back. They started demolishing that. Now they're erecting the walls so that they can design. They already got the design for their space, so they're just building it out at this time. There's also a couple other areas that they're going to have to work on. Since they took our auditorium, they promised that they was going to rebuild us a command center near the front lobby. So that's in the works at this time. So once we get that all completed, I would just invite all of y'all to come out and take a look at it. They're indicating there will be a soft opening anticipated spring of 2024. Next slide. And the last 2 slides are just a couple of community engagements beyond the walls. And this is something that the Department of Corrections, after COVID, we want to get more involved back into the community. So over the next couple of months, you'll see our faces a little bit more in your communities. The first one we attended was a National Night Out event. And we were able to get out as a team, executive committee, and to include our recruits, get out into the communities and show that we care about our communities as well. We were able to get out. I was able to see some people I hadn't seen in many years. We went to every side of town, and the officers really enjoyed that evening. The next event that we participated in was Councilmember Boone's District 10 food drive. And I just want to say thank you for inviting us out and participating in that event. It was a good event. And we also participated in an event this week. And it was a great event as well. Councilman Boone was able to feed a lot of people. So these are just some of the community engagement that we want to be involved in. So I just ask every council member, if you have an event and you want to see our face, just give us a call. Just call us out. I would like to thank you for your opportunity that you gave me to present to you today. And if you have any questions or concerns, me or my team will gladly answer them.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Quiller. Colleagues, if you have any questions or comments, please indicate with your speaker button. I will kick us off. I wanted to touch on page 14 about the Grady Memorial Hospital issues.
Yes.
This is something that's been ongoing for a while, but it seemed to have been getting worse. You know, I always hear about this the most when I go on ride-alongs and, you know, there's roll call, and I've heard just one zone having 2 to 3 other beat officers. And Deputy Chief Peak, if you want to come down here and weigh in on this as well, I would welcome that. 2 to 3 beat officers, quote unquote, sitting on inmates at Grady. I think we all know, but for those that don't know, our beat officers are the people within APD that are tasked with patrolling our streets, our neighborhoods, answering our residents and visitors 911 calls. And some zones, I believe, have, I think, 11, upwards of 14 beats. And if you're taking even one, especially when you take 2 or 3 of those and pull them to go their whole shift or even a half shift or even a couple hours to sit on inmates, you're taking valuable hours away, most importantly from answering 911 calls, and 2, doing proactive patrols on our streets and neighborhoods. So again, this is an issue I've heard about since I've been on council, but it seems to have been getting worse when I go out and talk to my beat officers and visit our zones. There was an escape, I believe, documented a few weeks ago at Grady. This council has worked with administration to establish contracts to patrol our parks, to take the onus off of APD. We have established contracts for off-duty officers to work at the airport to fill in those gaps. We have established contracts for off-duty officers to patrol and set on DPW and other city facilities. But this seems to be a lingering issue. So just either Deputy Chief Quiller and or both, kind of where are we on this issue? What is going to be the fix? And most importantly, when can we see that? And just to put in another request, Deputy Chief Peak, I know I've put in a few for your next monthly, but I would like to see this quantified. I want to see how many hours each of the past couple months, 2 or 3 months, how many hours have been taken away from patrolling and answering 911 calls in our zones. So if you could quantify that for us in that report as well, I'll just throw that addendum in there. But so again, where are we at now? When are we going to have this referenced security contract in place so we can get these officers back out on the streets patrolling our neighborhoods?
Yes, sir. Currently,
and you know very well because you were I was on one
yes, sir.
major, so
yeah, I do understand, and I understand where APD is coming from, being that I was a zone commander for many years. So what I want to say is this: is that the DOP and finance is in the process of moving this forward. We do have 3 individual vendors. So they have provided all their information, and we're waiting on them to go ahead and give us the okay so that we can start utilizing one of those contracts. So what we will do once we leave here, we'll go ahead and make those calls and see where we're at with this. But in the short term, one of the things that we thought about utilizing was a small purchase order, so that we can go ahead and utilize one of those vendors now, so that we can fill the gaps of Major Travis and Deputy Chief Johnson's team. So those are the 2 things that we're looking at. We know we already got it in works. We already got the vendors established. It's just now getting ready to go ahead and say, yeah, we want to use this vendor so we can go ahead and employ him into Grady's space. As far as the short term, like I said, a small purchase order. So within, it could be a matter of a couple of days or a week, and we can have some of those officers employed working with us now.
yeah, because as you know, this time of year it's very busy for APD. Our officers on 12-hour shifts with the holidays. And just, I believe you mentioned it in your presentation, but it is very clear in these contracts, these have to be post-certified officers from these vendors.
That is correct. They have to be post-certified, either post-certified law enforcement or post-certified correctional officers.
Understood.
Yes.
Deputy Chief Peak, did you have any comments?
Sir, only thing that I'll add to it, and we'll certainly be able to provide the data, it's something that we capture on a weekly basis to look at how many hours we're out of service with that issue. What I will say is that we have worked closely with Chief Dancy and Chief Quiller and the entire team of Atlanta City Corrections when we're having those issues and when we're seeing them fluctuating to try to get the resources in place. So understanding that it's a pool on manpower from both agencies, but we are working diligently along with them to keep those solutions in place as we move forward. And there are some challenging times, but we work closely with them on those as well. So, but we'll certainly have that data for you to look at it and have it broken down. So we're getting it every week to look at it to ensure that we keep people on the street as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Peak, and that's not just to keep someone busy and looking at data. I actually want to see where we've been the past few months, where we're at now, and hopefully when these contracts are implemented very soon, where we will go to and getting our officers back out on the streets and answering those 911 calls. I have some colleagues that are signed up for questions. If you're signed up to speak, please indicate with your speaker button, and I'll come to you, Councilmember Bond. First up is Councilmember Amos.
Deputy Chief Quiller, I almost call you Major again. Just had an idea, and I know this conversation will have to start with Fulton County Sheriff, but when it comes back to you, I want us to be prepared for it. Okay. Because the first time in probably decades, I think we are in a position to help the citizens of District 3. And this issue is specific to District 3, probably just a little bit on 9 and on 4. Every day, Monday through Friday, there's a caravan that leaves Rice Street, Fulton County Jail, coming to the Fulton County Courthouse. It's like clockwork. Every morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock, sirens blaring. Now that they're putting inmates in Atlanta detention, it will be possible to give District 3 some rest from that noise pollution every morning by moving those inmates over here during the day, and then you just have to move them from ACDC to the Fulton County Court. You don't have to go through my neighborhoods. They literally go past 5 or 6 neighborhoods, and from Zone 1. So I will be making that request for the sheriff. Just when it gets to us, I want us to be ready on our end. But now, there was never a way to really stop that, but I think it's a perfect opportunity to stop it now because they have somewhat of a home base right down the street from the courthouse. So just wanted to mention that. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Councilmember Bond.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. And also, I need a technician. I can't seem to log in. Thank you, Deputy Chief Quiller, for your presentation. And I also wanted to follow up on the Grady Hospital question. Have you all looked at recapturing some either retired correction officers or others that were employed there to come back and sit on some of these inmates?
Yes, we would love to do that, and that's one of the questions that we did have with the executive team, to bring back some of those individuals, because we've already brought some back. But yeah, no doubt, we would definitely like to entertain that again.
Okay. And then my next question, what is the current salary of our correction officer? Because if people are leaving only for the pay, we've just done, of course, miracle work for the APD, and we're in the midst of doing it for Atlanta Fire and Rescue. What's going on with corrections?
Good afternoon, Kawana Williams, the program director. The current salary is $42K, which includes the increase of the COLA as well as the increase of the 14% that was given in FY23.
So when was the last major salary increase?
COLA, January of 2020.
Well, no, I know we get the COLA, but what was there a bump before that?
Yes, it was a 21% increase in July of 2023.
So there's been a recent boost, but even that's not enough to keep people.
I'm sorry, July of 2022, correct, that's not enough. So right now, working with HR Commissioner Smith and her team in the CUMP study, I believe there's some movement coming forth shortly.
Okay, well that's encouraging, because if the arrests are going up, you're gonna need more more correction officers. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that for every police officer you hire, there's a direct correlation with the need for X amount of additional correction officers to house those individuals.
Yes, sir.
So I'm glad that conversation is taking place.
Yes, sir.
But Deputy Chief Quiller, HelloFresh misses corrections. You all were out there with us a lot. AFRD they've stood up like Superman.
I know. We got to get back with it. I apologize for that.
My knees and my back need y'all to come back.
Hey, we're going to come back.
Us out.
We're going to dedicate some resources out there to you. Trust me, we will.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
we'll definitely take care of you. And thank you. Thank you for the awards that you presented to the Department of Corrections. We really appreciated that, and that helped with the morale. So
well, you all, came through and volunteered, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
I withdraw, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Boone.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to thank you all so much for all of the hard work and dedication that you all exhibit throughout the entire year, especially during the cold winter months when you all are assisting us with the homeless population, with the shelter meals and the supplies that you all have provided for our unhoused population. You all have really, really done a great job. Your work has not gone unnoticed. You all are just wonderful. And to our Deputy Chief Johnson, who moves around the city, attends different meetings, and makes everything, we just want to thank you all so much for being there, always being there. And if there's anything that we can do or any issues, please bring those to our attention. And we look forward to coming back to your Corrections Week event. That was a wonderful, wonderful event. And again, after all of these years, it's great to see you again. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I'll make sure I tell Chief Johnson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for being responsive. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Councilmember Waits.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the presentation today. As the Keep Atlanta Beautiful board member, I would like to partner with your office and department regarding some areas of the city that I think need our attention, and I'm specifically referring to some of the intersections that are full of debris and shrubbery, and possibly some of the parks that don't get the same attention as Piedmont as well as Grant Park. There is a lot of overgrown shrubbery, specific in District 12, 3, and 4. I know in past years I had worked closely with Sheriff Labatt at the time. I think he was at the city during my tenure as a state representative, and we did several areas successfully. So I wanted to see if we could get a commitment to open that opportunity back up. And I know that we have a number of inmates that oftentimes spend their days, you know, with probably not much to do. And I think it will be a wonderful way for them to contribute to our city and keep the cost of labor down in terms of beautifying our city. So it would be great if I could get access to low offender, possibly 100 inmates, and we can start the project of cleaning up our city.
Okay, that's something we can discuss and talk about. Okay. So if you want to send me an invite or you want to discuss it even further, we'll come to your office with all our resources and we'll plan it out.
Terrific. I'd like to do that today.
Okay. Today?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Lewis.
Yes, and I would like to be a part of that conversation because I want to make sure it's not just low wages. I want to see if there's any kind of way we can do a fair wage, even if it's minimum wage or City of Atlanta minimum wage, where we have folks actually helping us out. Because that way folks can re-enter into society, re-enter into the City of Atlanta the right way with a job if we give them a skill while they're actually incarcerated in our city jail. So I want to talk about wages, so it's not like free labor or slave-like labor as they're helping us keep our city clean.
Okay, definitely. Excuse me.
Any other questions, colleagues? All right, thank you very much, Deputy Chief Fuller.
All right, thank you, Chairman.
All right, that concludes our presentations for this cycle. We will move on to our communications. First up is 23C
Mr.
5121.
Chairman, I just have a quick question at the
Yes,
appropriate
Councilmember
time. Well, I know we had a question regarding enforcement in the Vine City area, and I know Councilmember Amos will bring that up later, but can Chief Peak speak to how we can support our neighbors in Vine City?
Sure.
Please.
You'd like to hear from Deputy Chief?
Councilmember Amos is going to raise the issue.
Deputy Chief Peak, I don't know if were you here during that public comment? I know you came in a little later.
No, sir.
There was a constituent here, I believe Councilmember Amos is in Vine City, speaking about the issues with parking, I believe when it comes to special events, but of course, Councilmember Amos, you can elaborate further.
I know Ms. Adams had a very specific issue that involved a threat, so probably the two of you can get together later. But it's an ongoing, as we have already talked about it. I think, I can't remember if it was last public safety meeting or transportation meeting, we talked about, I asked you to look into some type of special group that could do some type of special enforcement. I don't know if Georgia peace officers trained to give corrections the ability to write tickets or not. I don't know what type of traffic enforcement training that is taking place out at the airport, but Zone 1 needs help on Falcons Day. Whatever concert, game, event is taking place at the Benz, we are really becoming trapped in our own neighborhood. My colleagues have helped. We have put up new signs that clearly says no parking, residential parking permit. We have actually increased the parking fees. It really comes down to enforcement now, and I came in on the tail end of her comments as well, so please talk to her. But as soon as we can find some type of way to fill that gap of getting Zone 1 some extra help, it's becoming almost every event to where people are deciding not to use the legal parking and deciding to park in the streets and gypsy lots. And same thing we went through when Turner Field was open and when the original Dome was open. So I know my colleagues definitely call me, they come and see me. It's an ongoing issue that we are constantly seeking help with.
Absolutely received, and we'll take a look at it and put some resources or some details in place where we can manage it and see if we can make an impact on those issues over there. So thanks for bringing it, and we'll take care of it. Well, I will certainly go have a talk with them. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Now, Ms. Lindo, 23C 5121.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's a communication from Tony Roberts, Executive Director and CEO of the Atlanta Bar Association, submitting the appointment of Ms. Andrea Bilbaja to serve on the Atlanta Citizen Review Board, filling the unexpired term of Mr. Keith Hassan. This term will expire August 19th, 2024.
Colleagues, this appointee will appear at the December 11th meeting, so I'll make a motion to hold. Is there a second? Second by Vice Chair Amos. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item will be held. Moving on to our consent agenda and items for favorable and unfavorable recommendations. I'll make a motion to accept favorable claims, items 1 and 2. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Amos. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. Those two items are favorable. I will make a motion to adverse all unfavorable claims, items 3 through 32. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Amos. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. Those items are adverse. Moving on to our ordinances for first read. We have 3 items. Ms. Lindo, please sound those.
First item, Mr. Chair, is 23-0-1677. This is an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to reinstate an intergovernmental rental agreement between the City of Atlanta and the Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia for the lease of space located at 1630 Metropolitan Parkway, approximately 20,359 usable square feet, Building 500, 3rd floor, approximately 3,222 usable square feet, and Building 700, 1st floor, and with 2,409 usable square feet, Building 700, 2nd floor, for temporary use of the Atlanta Police Department Training Academy, to ratify all actions taken on behalf of the city in connection with administering the lease, to authorize the execution of a First Amendment to the agreement, adding a 3rd renewal term of 1 year commencing on July 1st, 2024, authorizing the expenditure to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein, and to waive Section 2-1105 and any other conflicting provisions of the Atlanta City Code, and for other purposes. Item number 2 is 23-0-1678. This is an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to accept a grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency's U.S. Department of Homeland Security 2021 Fire Prevention and Safety Grant Funding Opportunity on behalf of the Atlanta Fire Rescue Department in amount not to exceed $44,458 for the support of the Atlanta Fire Rescue Department Fire Prevention Community Risk Reduction Program and for other purposes. Item number 3 is 23-0-1679. This is an ordinance by by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee amending the 2024 intergovernmental grant budget Department of Police by adding to anticipation and appropriations the amount of $637,411 for the 2023 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Award from the United States Department of Justice and for other purposes.
Thank you. Moving on to our regular agenda, an ordinance for second read. Item number 4, 23-0-1605.
This is an ordinance by Councilmember Michael Julian Bond to amend Chapter 10, Section 10-93 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances so as to add a new subsection C to provide an exemption from the distance requirements for package stores licensed to sell malt beverages, wine and/or distilled spirits by the package listed in Section 10-88.1B of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances for one package store located at 536 Decatur Street, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia, 30312, and for other purposes.
Councilmember Bond?
Motion to hold.
Been a motion to hold by Councilmember Bond. I will second that. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
6 yeas, 0 nays. That item will be held. Item number 5, 23-0-1632. It is, my understanding we have a substitute. Does it change the caption?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, if you can go ahead and read it in.
Yes, this is an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee, a substitute ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee to amend Chapter 78, Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 3, Section 78-57 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Atlanta to adopt by reference the most recent edition of the International Fire Code, including all appendices thereto, as currently adopted by the State of Georgia and amended by Chapter 120-3-3 of the Georgia Safety Fire Commissioner Rules and Regulations, save and accept such portions as are altered, amended, or repealed herein and for other purposes.
Make a motion to bring that substitute forward. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
5 yeas, 0 nays. That substitute is before us. I'll make a motion to approve on substitute. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
5 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable on substitute. Moving to resolutions, 23R4558.
This is a resolution by Councilmember Michael Julian Bond authorizing the reemployment of City of Atlanta Police Department employee Anita Alexander as a payroll specialist senior at the Department of Corrections for an annual compensation not to exceed $62,218.96 pursuant to Section 3-505A of the Charter of the City of Atlanta and for other purposes.
Make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
5 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Item number 7, 23R4559. I believe we have an amendment. I'll make a motion to amend. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
5 yeas, 0 nays. This item is amended. I will make a motion to approve as amended. Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, I need to read the caption.
Go ahead.
This is a resolution by Councilmember Michael Julian Bond, as amended by the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee, authorizing the mayor to enter into an appropriate contractual agreements for special procurement listed herein, inmate physician services on behalf of the Department of Corrections with Edgar L. Scott III, MD, for the purpose of providing the services of a physician and medical director at the Atlanta City Detention Center in amount not to exceed $250,000 annually. All contracted work shall be charged and paid from accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
All right, motion by myself. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
5 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable as amended. Item number 8, 23R 4630.
This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into Rule Number 2 to Agreement FC 9423, citywide clean and close services with Ascay's Construction and Home Inspection, LLC, on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Police Code Enforcement Section for a term of 1 year commencing on December 16, 2023 through December 15, 2024, in an amount not to exceed $1,400,000, all contracted work to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Item number 9, 23R 4631.
This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or designee to exercise the first renewal option for agreement number listed herein, record services for abandoned vehicles on private property, stolen and non-stolen vehicles with South Metro Towing on behalf of the City of Atlanta Police Department for a term of 1 year effective from January 31st, 2024 through January 30th, 2025 at no cost to the city pursuant to Section 2-1189 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
Make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Items number 7, 8, and 9 are all settlements. We'll take those as a block, Ms. Linda.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's 10 through 12,
Excuse
Mr. Chair.
me. Yeah. 10, 11, and 12.
Item number 10 is 23R 4632. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendant in the case of W. Charles Moore and Howard Brownlow, Jeremy Williams, and City of Atlanta civil action number listed herein pending in the State Court of Fulton County of Georgia in the amount of $50,000 and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 11 is 23R 4633. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendant City of Atlanta in the case of Del Oro 269 LLC, City of Atlanta, civil action listed herein pending in the Superior Court of Fulton County, Georgia, in the amount of $125,000, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 12 is 23R 4634. It's a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendant City of Atlanta in the case of Bernard Griffin Jr. versus City of Atlanta, civil action listed herein pending in the State Court of Fulton County, Georgia, in the amount of $70,000 and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes.
Make a motion to approve those 3 items. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
6 yeas, 0 nays. Those 3 items are approved. We have a couple items on held to address. The first one is item number 25, which is 23-01168. We first have an amendment. I will make a motion to amend. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. This is an
6
ordinance
yeas,
by...
6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is amended, and that just, colleagues, just removes references to distilled spirits in section 1. Read that in, Ms. Linda.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is an ordinance by Councilmember Matt Westmoreland as substituted by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee and as amended by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee to amend Chapter 10, Section 10-93 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances so as to add a new subsection C to provide an exemption from the distance requirements for package stores licensed to sell malt beverages and/or wine by the package listed in Section 10-88.1A of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances for one specialty food shop located at 1370 North Highland Avenue, Northeast Atlanta, 30306, and for other purposes.
I'll make a motion to approve as amended. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable as amended. Item number 26, 23R 4529.
This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor as designee to enter into Amendment Number 1 for the extension of contract number listed herein, vehicle rental with Enterprise Leasing Company of Georgia LLC, utilizing the state of Georgia statewide contract number listed herein pursuant to 2-1601, Article 10 of the Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances on behalf of the Atlanta Police Department in an amount not to exceed $150,000 annually. All costs shall be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
This item needs to be filed per the law department.
Oh, Mr. Chair, favorable. They were written.
What?
Because it's a cooperative.
Ms. Robinson, if you could enlighten us on the, change in opinion.
Good afternoon. There actually hasn't, Amber A. Robinson, City of Atlanta Department of Law, there's not been a change of opinion concerning this paper. This paper authorizes an amendment to a contract, but it is a co-op, and the amendment is simply to provide that this contract shall flow with the state contract that it is a cooperative purchase along with the piggybacking on the state contract. So the state contract was extended, and so this resolution is done in accordance with the procurement code, which permits co-ops with properly procured contracts of other governments. Here we have a state contract, which was properly procured, authorized by the procurement code at 2-1602. And so therefore, because this is not in contravention with the procurement code in any way, it's just essentially authorizing a co-op, which is already allowed under the code. It can be a resolution.
Understood. So I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilmember Bond. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote's closed.
6 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Colleagues, that I believe completes our legislative agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Any questions, comments? Councilmember Bond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we'll probably do this at our regular council meeting, but two icons of my childhood passed away over the holiday break. First was Marty Krofft, of Sid and Marty Krofft, the creator of so many children's television shows and of the world of Sid and Marty Krofft that was in the Omni. He passed away. And of course, the notable, tremendous Atlanta icon, Chief Nakahoma, passed away on Friday. And, you know, I had attempted many times to try to reach his family to try to honor him here in the chamber, but, you know, his ailments would not allow it. But I know we'll take the appropriate motion of silence at the council meeting, but didn't want the day to pass without acknowledging him and what he meant to the Braves. He was I believe, the mascot for more than 20 years there in right field in the teepee. And every time there was a home run, he would come out and do his ceremonial dance. And so just wanted to note that and wish him the best. And of course, good friend that we talked about at the last meeting, Radcliffe Bailey, was memorialized this past Saturday over at the Cascade Nature Preserve on his birthday, 12 days after his passing. So we've lost a lot of great people in a few days.
Thank you, Councilmember Vaughn. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you all very much, and we will stand adjourned by unanimous consent of members present.